Good evening, KP Heathen, my friend from Louisiana. Uncle Al. Hope y'all are doing well this evening. Long day at the church office. Well, God bless you. Thank you for your service and ministry, Uncle Al. I did a Coffee Talk News segment, a little less than 5 minutes. I keep them down to 5 minutes. It's been going on a month since I did the last one. And it's on the federal government's efforts to secure the border. I did one on the state of Texas effort to secure the Texas border, and this one's on the federal government's efforts. So that should be uploaded after I do a little bit of voodoo to it. Gotta work on it a little bit, the editing, and then I'm gonna shout out some channels. I have to do the print portion, and I'm not too good. I pick donk 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 donk. So that's where I'm at right now. What a bunch of stupid people. Yeah, you told me about that. Enrique Trevino, my friend. Well, they're smart enough to be Christians. They're just not too bright. They're just not too bright at Christians. But it is what it is. There are a lot more peasants in the world than there are aristocrats, Uncle Al. Oh, Lord. What did the Lord say? Jesus said, the poor will always be with you. Well, I hear that Trump's had them go to court against him again over the Department of Education. They find some low-level judge to stop whatever he does. That is, and that is sad that that's the case. They're basically lawfare and trying to use the courts. They didn't beat him in the election, so now they're trying to hook or crook whatever they can do. I did a short on the price of eggs. Here locally in Victoria, Texas, you get a dozen eggs for about $4. And, if it was $6, then the eggs would be about 50 cents a piece. There are places where you pay $8, $9 a dozen for eggs. I talked to some of the people who watch my channel, and they'll tell me, well, where we're at, eggs are $8 or eggs at $9 or whatever, like up in the Northeast. Department of Indoctrination, more like, yep. Well, I hear you. FDR did some bad things when he was president. He did a lot of socialist stuff. He also tried to lock all the Japanese up, all the Japanese Americans up, take their property, treat them like a bunch of criminals. Hadn't done anything other than the fact that they're Japanese. And, you know, they're former, you know, I'm part German. Would have been hell. Well, there's way too many of us. But, you know, the second largest ethnicity under the English are the Germans in the United States. And they didn't try to lock the Germans up. As a matter of fact, a lot of the high-ranking military that fought against Germany were of German descent. Eisenhower, who was the Supreme Allied Commander, was of German descent. Throw the judges in prison? Well, I'm not going to argue that one. Not going to argue that one. Got to be careful, Uncle Al. You might get me in trouble with YouTube. Oh, Lord. Three in the house. Ooh, 5 likes. And I've probably got a couple of lurkers out there. Wanted to wait for a couple more people to come in before I start on today's topic. Compliments again of my friend Die Bullfrog 79. They shop around for a liberal judge that will make a ruling on their behalf. It's all about slowing it down. They're just, you know, they're the resistance, and they're basically fighting tooth and nail to prevent the changes that were voted on by the people in the election. My father, when I was a boy, and this is over 50 years ago, told me the story, and he had a lot of friends who were law enforcement. The lockup where they would take people that they arrested was underground. It was in the basement, and there was these concrete steps down on the outside, concrete steps that go take you down. If you gave them a hard time, you went down face first. He told me that. Would motivate people not to give them a hard time. Well, let me go ahead and mention today's topic. Enrique's dying to hear it. Today's topic is the danger of YouTube influencers and live streaming. Did you know it's dangerous to live stream? It's dangerous to be an influencer. You know, it's dangerous to be a CEO. Elon Musk has got a serious security detail that he pays for, and he's had his life threatened. There are people, they're nuts out there that, you know, that they want blood. They do that in Mexico. Well, Mexico's one of my favorite countries. Yes. So too many people, and there are examples that you can cite, have been murdered by crazed fans. You remember Selena Quintanilla? She was in the process of really blowing up as far as her. She was real big in the Mexican community, but she was transitioning, crossing over into popular culture. Her Yolanda Saldivar, who was head of her fan club, shot and killed her. That's been over 20 years ago. But, you know, that was tragic. You can also be killed in a swatting raid. What is swatting? That's when somebody calls in a false report and law enforcement shows up taking it serious. And if things get out of hand, somebody can get seriously hurt or killed. Uncle Al tells people to get a mentor, a lawyer, and a bail bondsman. Mom of 4 boys, hello. How are you doing? Yes, they do. Down on the waterfront. I worked at the school district. It was a smaller district, West Oso ISD. I worked there for 17 years. And she lived in that neighborhood, the Molina neighborhood. Her parents, the family, had 3 houses side by side. And they had already moved out. They still own the property, but they had moved out and moved around to different areas of town. Selena had a mansion on Ocean Drive. After her death, her husband lived out in Kings Crossing Country Club, had a real big place out there. Her father, her parents lived out at Cal-Al in a nice home. Don't use the excuse, it's a hobby. Well, I tell people all the time, my YouTube channel is a hobby. I don't make money off of it. Yes, I'm monetized. They owe me 30 some odd dollars. You know, it's like, well, and they have to owe you $100 before they'll send you a check or before they'll pay you. So I'm not doing this to make money. I would like to try. Uncle Al keeps saying he'd like to get to 5,000. I'd like to get to 2,000. You know, I'm getting there. I'm at 1,858. There are a lot of channels that I was a lot bigger than that are now bigger than me. I was looking at Echo's channel, Living My Best Life. I watched a couple of her shorts, left comments, and said, well, how's she doing? Checked her channel. She's over 2,000 subscribers now. I used to be well over 1,000 ahead of her. She's working a lot harder than I am. And God bless her. But this is a hobby for me. My income comes from education, comes from my retirement. You could end up arrested, attacked, or murdered. Take notes. The prank of swatting is a federal offense. You can get 10 years to life. Causing the death of a live streamer by police and government officers. They've been doing that to some of the politicians, some of the people in the Trump administration, some of the people that were supporting him when he was running. They've tried to do that to some of the court, some of the conservative court. It's a felony crime in all 50 states and territories. Parents are responsible for children 13 to 17, young adults 18 to 27 using a family channel. It's also responsible in this criminal act. From the AG and Department of Justice. The second part of the topic is not to get killed or murdered while filming a live stream on a smartphone. Not paying attention to your surroundings. You can get hit by a vehicle. You can be attacked at home doing a live stream by policemen, a police team, crazed fans, and strangers. You know, you get these people, the journalists and such, they're overseas, they're in a war zone, they're in a high crime zone, they're in a dangerous area of some town, city, and they could be on the air and they could be attacked, or they could be robbed. People come up with a gun to rob them. That's happened before. It's dangerous. It's a dangerous world. Joseph Moore, how you doing, Joseph? Yeah, not getting killed is a goal. Hello, Little Lone Prepper. You know, think about it. It can be depressing. So, hopefully tomorrow or maybe this evening, depending on whether I feel like doing some more editing when I get off of this, I'll be putting out my Coffee Talk News number 6. It's been right at a month since I put out a Coffee Talk News. This one's going to be a little bit of information on what the federal government's doing to secure the border. They issued their first contract to build wall of the new Trump administration. They had something like 265 miles of wall that was paid for, contracted out, materials and everything, when Trump left office, and Biden basically shut it down. And then they lost that money. They had people who were using rented equipment, heavy equipment, that had contracted for concrete, for steel, to do construction, had people under contract to do the work, and they shut that down, and that money was poof. It's one of the things that, Doge is doing. They're finding all the corruption, all the wasted spending, all of the crime, and they're trying to stop that. And then you got these liberal judges that are saying, you can't do that. You can't stop. So, well, you know, they're Obama appointees. They're Biden appointees. You know, they're, they're, um, they're not constitutionalists. They're activists. They think they can rule or they can change or they can touchy-feely, not what's based on the law or what's based on the intent of the founders. Yeah, I will film little clips of stuff that I will project as shorts, or I'll put in a video. Like I did one today on the price of eggs over at Walmart. About $6 for an 18 carton, about $4 for a 12 pack. Just under for both of those. Like $5.88, I think, for the 18 pack. But I shoot stuff occasionally. I see something, I'll shoot it, like in Sam's or in Walmart or Aldi's. Once in a while, HEB. I do a lot of food short. You guys know that I do a lot of food shorts. I've been doing basically been cooking this week. That I've been off. I've been off 6 days, and I've been doing a lot of cooking. Haven't really been eating out. I've done a couple of pot roasts, did some steaks. I've been doing breakfast tacos every morning, either with bacon or sausage. 3 or 4 eggs on a low carb tortilla, large tortilla. A lot of sandwiches at lunch, hamburgers. You know, I need to branch out more. Probably need to do some pasta, spaghetti. YouTube has been around since 2005. It's been here for 20 years. YouTube's been around for 20 years. And I think iPhones have been around for about 17 years. Well, I'll tell you what, a lot of people are putting out great food shorts. I love your food shorts, Uncle Al. Yours are pretty much better than mine. A lot of yours are better than mine. I'm trying to spread out with the music that I'm using. Sometimes I'm on my backup channel, and I'll upload a short, and then say, "Oh, dagnabbit, I loaded on the wrong channel." I got a bunch of stuff on private that's loaded up on my backup channel that has 56 subscribers. My colossal backup channel. But I try to put out 2 or 3 shorts a day. I don't do live streams every day. I'm trying to this week because I'm off. It'd be nice if I could get, like, on a regular work week, maybe 3 live streams or 4 live streams a week. Get a lot of hours from it. I do a live stream, I get right at 10 hours from it. Not what it used to be. I used to get 20 hours on a live stream. Now I'm getting 10 if I'm lucky. Last night I had 7.5. 7.5. Like 30 views. You know, some of them stay for a long time, some of them just click through. Yes, Uncle Al's very good at plating. And I would think that not all that food he made. I would think some of Uncle Al's food came from somebody giving him a plate, and he shoot. That's like, going out to eat and shooting a plate, of food that I bought out. You can usually tell when I'm in a restaurant. If I do one in a restaurant, you can certainly tell when I'm doing the cafeteria food that the kids eat. Hey, Rooted in Essential Oils, welcome. I was over on Rooted's live stream today, just running through and saw it. Stuck around for a little while. He had somebody BSing him about the Statue of Liberty being of a man. That's why it's called Lady Liberty. It's not a trans Statue of Liberty. Hey, take care, Joseph. Thank you for coming. I use the takeout box because I take stuff from the cafeteria to my kids, so they make it takeout boxes. And they use the same kind of takeout boxes that like restaurants use. You can have a couple of you have a main, and then you got a couple of little for sides. They don't give you the servings that you would at a restaurant. Yes, well, somebody was BSing you. I think one of your followers is a cut up and just was messing with you. There are people like that. They're real big on BS. Ten likes, 6 in the house. I usually don't get to 20 likes on my live streams. I'll do it for an hour, and I usually don't get to 20. I usually 15, 16 is where I'll be at when the live stream ends. Now sometimes the following day I'll have a few more come in. I'll hit 20, 21, and that's people following up the day after. They missed it, or they come back through and they leave me a like and a comment. I'll have people tell me that they that they're rerunning it, and then the next day I look to see, well, there were 7 people that came through, and I got 1.2 additional hours of playtime or watch time. 1.2 additional hours. 7 people came through. So they have it on for a little while. They'll watch a little while. They'll run it for a little while, and then, you know. I used to run replays. I was sort of like in a replay club. There's 4 or 5 people that I would run their live stream, their whole live stream, and give them the watch time, and then they do it for me, so that I'd pick up an extra hour, because I try to do an hour, just over an hour usually, and they would basically run a playlist overnight. I'd be on their playlist. I'd get a full hour of watch time, and then I do the same thing for them. And I did that with 4 or 5 people. Usually, a lot of these people would run like a 2-hour live stream. I generally do an hour. I think I've done a 2-hour live stream once or twice. I've never. Sometimes it goes an hour and 15 minutes. If it's really a good, look, got a lot of people in the stream, and we got a topic that we're really enjoying. Yes, I'm monetized. Not that you know it. I don't ask people to do give me money. I don't ask for super chats. I don't sell anything. I don't I don't sponsor. I'm not a sponsor for anything. People don't pay me to do any of that. I don't have I don't have people who pay me to be on a select watch early content type. I don't do any of that. My content's not that good. I don't put out that much. I would not expect people. My monetization money basically would come from watch time. If you let the commercials run, that's all I ask people to do. Is that if you're running me, play the commercials if you're willing to, and that way I get a few pennies from that. I used to do that. It had my watch hours way up. I mean, it had my watch hours way up, and I'm not, maybe if I'm still doing this when I'm finally retired, because see, I'm retired, but I came back to work, and it may be that I will put forth more effort and be willing to do that, but Mike Crusher Reviews, how's it going, Mike? What amazes me, and I'm not hating on anybody, God bless them, but some channels just grow like weeds. They have decent content, but I mean, they pick up subscribers like you would not believe. I believe my channel is because of my content and because of my conservative content. I believe I'm sort of shadow banned by YouTube. YouTube does not like people like me, my opinions, my content, the things that I say, my beliefs that I voice, and I think that I'm probably affected by that. If all I was doing was trying to grow my channel and talk about BS, and everything's nice and, just stuck with food and everything, I'm sure my channel would be growing a lot faster than it is. Went to Wally World today. It wasn't fun, but I brought a blackberry cobbler. I deserved it for having to go through that. LOL. Blackberry cobbler sounds good. Yeah, it's been windy. And this morning it was 40 degrees here in Victoria. It's warming up some. It's getting spring. It's warming up. The weather's getting better. You lost power. That happens sometimes. You get a big tree limb that'll break, fall on a line and snap a line, and you have power down for a little while. Or some idiot runs into a pole that knocks out a transformer or some such. That happens here occasionally. Uh, it's not safe out there sometimes to drive, and especially you don't want to be around rush hour traffic if you can avoid it. Yeah, God bless the lineman. You know, in Houston, when they had that storm, it knocked out power. Well, there were some neighborhoods in Houston. It took them a month to bring back the power, and one of the reasons was because we're talking about Thug Central, some of those wards, and you had those people out there pointing guns and threatening them, and they didn't want to go in there and do those repairs without having law enforcement in there to protect them. Law enforcement did not want to go in there and do it, and there was a big scandal, and they were complaining at the power company. But it's like, hey, don't blame the power company. You got to go deal with your thugs. Leftists and Democrats. Well, I thought the Democrats were the leftists. I haven't really seen very many conservative Democrats. They're all a bunch of leftist socialists. Yeah, they are heroes. Yeah, I keep warm. I keep warm. I'm wearing a t-shirt. Excuse me. I'm wearing a t-shirt, and then I got a long sleeve shirt, and I'm wearing shorts. Oh man, fat people, hard for a fat person with blood pressure to get cold. Thank you. Excuse me and thank you. There are a lot of people that are heroes. First responders are heroes. Um, they're not doing it to get rich. They're not get rich. They risk their lives. Firemen, firefighters. Every so often you hear about some getting killed because the fire's out of control, or something falls on them. Paramedics, EMTs. Um, they're not getting rich. They don't get paid that well. Law enforcement. They risk their lives every day out there. And there are people, they don't care. You know, they're willing to go if they can take a few law enforcement with them. I mean, they're just trying to make a name for themselves. I mean, nuts. Really nuts. A lot of nuts. I was an administrator for 23 years, school administrator for 23 years. And I'm not the brightest person in the world. But if somebody is in my building shooting people, I'm not going to walk up to them or run up to them and get shot in the head. Uh, you know, that's happened reportedly several times in these mass shootings. The school administrator, the principal, walks up to the person trying to talk to them and gets shot in the head. I'm not that stupid. I'm not a coward, but I'm not stupid. You get a lot of people that go through the education system and they wind up with some jacked up opinions, ideas, very liberal. Um, some of these socialist, communist type professors with their utopian ideas, um, and they buy into that crap, and then they start trying to pass it along. Just absolutely, just just depressing sometimes. You think of some of the people. Yeah, don't live stream and drive. Now I will say this: Melinda gets driven around by her daughter. She's got a daughter who will drive her to and from work, and she'll do a live stream where she's got the camera or the phone out the front window. Her daughter's driving, and she's in the back, or she's in the passenger seat, and she's doing her live stream, just talking. And I've been to a few of those. I've been through a few of those, and those are usually 20-25 minutes long. It takes her about 20-25 minutes to get to work from where she lives. And I don't have a problem with that. She's not, she's focused on what she's doing. Her daughter's focused on her driving. I like those driving videos. Yep, that's the way to do it, Mom. I'm not a big sports fan. And back in the days, my sport was basically taekwondo, martial arts. I like to go to tournaments. I like to watch. I would participate. I would compete, like doing forums and such. And I, enjoyed that. I watch a lot of clips of stuff like there is a young lady who is a basketball player in women's of the WNBA. Her name is Caitlin Clark. She played for Iowa in college, and she was the all-time scorer, male or female, college basketball. She was drafted to the Fever, and she's like Rookie of the Year. She set a 3-point shooting record her first year. Absolute gun of an arm passer. She has a real positive attitude, and they have been beating the crap out of her. I mean, all these fouls, intentional fouls, slamming into her, popping her in the head, all sorts of stuff. And she poking her in the eye, and she keeps a positive attitude. And then the referees, she gets technical calls for technical fouls. Got in foul trouble one time where they thought she'd be suspended for a game almost towards the end of the season, just for stupid stuff. And then you had some of these other people who I just basically say are haters, and they would just do stuff to hurt her, and they would just talk mess about her, and she'd go on about her business. And I will say one thing I didn't like about her that I found was negative is she and Taylor Swift. She's a big fan of Taylor Swift, and Taylor Swift endorsed the giggler, or the cackler, or what do you want to call her. So I have some questions about her political affiliation, possible political affiliation. She's never talked about it. She's smart for that, especially if she supports that group, because I would think that the majority of her fans are on the other side. I don't. I'm not. I don't. I haven't watched the full basketball game or part of a basketball game, and I don't know how long. But I do follow some of the clips, those little 1 minute clips. They throw. Um, One time we went to Walmart, and there were hundreds of people waiting in line to see this guy playing Batman. You could not get a parking space. They had the Batmobile there. I had no desire. Well, it's like James Bond. There have been a number of Bonds, and there have been a number of Batmans. Um, my favorite, my favorite line from a Batman movie was Michael Keaton. His first movie is Batman, and they had Jack Nicholson play the Joker. And Jack Nicholson's line as the Joker was, "This town needs an enema." And I tell you what, the United States needs a good enema. They need to clean out all the crap, all the criminals that came across. Some of these countries that they basically let them out of prison with the understanding that they'd come to the United States, like all those Venezuelan, Colombian gang members that got out, came here. They need to round them all up, and they need to put them someplace where they'll never get out again. I'm sorry, I have no sympathy for those criminals. I have no sympathy for those jihadis. You got people killing women and children in the name of God, not in the name of my God. Truthfully. 5 in the house, 10 likes. And I've had 8 come through to identify themselves. I don't know that, Hollywood isn't what it used to be. They're not that creative. They haven't been putting out. They do a lot of remakes. A lot of times the remakes are not as good as the originals. And they do a lot of woke stuff. I'm not into woke. What you do in the privacy of your place is your business. I don't care. Just, not for me. But what you do is your business. Don't go flaunting it, and keep it away from the kids. Well, and like a lot of the churches and the bigger churches, they've got security now. They'll have members of the church, their law enforcement, that make sure they're armed. They'll ask him to, keep an eye on things. And, nuts. You have nuts. Well, have you noticed? My understanding is they get together and they get their talking points together, and then they send them to everybody, all the different talking heads on the television programs, the lead politicians, and they all have them hammering the same talking points. They use the same words, the same terms, the same talking points ad nauseum. You look at multiple channels and they're all saying the same thing. It's, they're putting out, their talking points. They're very good at that. Like right now, they're all cussing. They feel the need to use the F word and shit. They're all cussing. They're all just absolutely. That continuing resolution that got passed, it got continued for several months at the rate that the previous one was. The previous one was put out by the Democrats before Trump came into office. The Democrats controlled the Senate at the time. The president, the House had a narrow Republican majority, the same way it has now. And they just continued that continuing resolution. They just continued at that rate. And now they're talking about, oh, the Republicans are cutting this, and they're cutting that, and they're cutting this, and they're cutting that. And they haven't cut anything. They haven't cut one thing. They're continued at the same rate that the Democrats have put it up. But that's their talking point. They're trying to scare people. And stupid people will be scared. Oh, they're cutting Social Security. They're cutting Medicare. They're cutting Medicaid. That's scare tactics. That's what they do. That's what they're good at. They scare people. Yeah. Yeah. Colorado. Beautiful place. Mile High Stadium. You're way up in that, you're way up in elevation. But your government, too many lefties. Yeah. I mean, I'm slowing down mentally. I'm not what I used to be. I'm not near as sharp as I used to be. My mind isn't what it used to be. I don't remember. I don't retain data the way I used to. I used to be able to quote you all sorts of stuff. And I can't. I burned out too many brain cells. Too many brain cells. But I think I'm wiser than I used to be. Wisdom. I mean, my BS sensor goes off fairly regularly. I mean, I know when somebody's BSing me, and I know when they're basically pushing a certain agenda. Well, everybody's got an agenda. But I know when they're pushing BS on me. I mean, I can tell you when the BS meter's going. So again, today's topic, the danger of YouTube influencers and live streaming. Too many people are getting murdered by crazed fans, or worse, killed in a swatting raid. Attractive young women out and about at night, dressed, where people are watching. A lot of thugs get them. A lot of women, you have these attractive young ladies. They're in the wrong place at the wrong time, and somebody gets them. And that's it. And then they'll find the body a few days later, if they find the body. They oftentimes catch these thugs. Sometimes they're serial. They've done it to more than one woman. That's happened a lot. College towns, big college cities. You've got to be careful Don't go out by yourself. Stay in a group. Make sure somebody's armed. That's true, Uncle Al. A lot of people that aren't that wise. Common sense. A lot of people lack common sense. I offered to send Enrique a box. He said, no, only if I win. I said, well, you got a pretty good chance of winning my next giveaway. The last giveaway I only had 14 names in the hat. If you'd like to have an opportunity to win a goodie box from me, I do one every 100 new subscribers. So when I hit 1900, I'll be doing a subscriber giveaway. To qualify, you need to leave a like and a supportive comment in each of the last 5 videos I will have released when I hit 1900. I'm not talking shorts, not talking community posts, not talking live streams. We're talking videos. I don't do that many videos. And my channel hasn't been growing that fast recently. But if you'd like the opportunity to, please remember to leave a like and a supportive comment, and you'll have pretty good odds. And my boxes are nice. Look at some of my previous subscriber giveaways, and you'll see basically what I put in them. It's good stuff. So I will be releasing another Coffee Talk News. It'll be Coffee Talk News number 6, hopefully tomorrow. I've got to do the description. I got to put some information in. I'm going to do some shout outs. And I'm looking forward to getting that one uploaded. I appreciate those who support me, and I try to support those who support me. And I try to treat people the way I want to be treated. It's my upbringing, you know. Every day when I get up, I thank God for the day. I drink my coffee and take my medication. Say the Lord's Prayer. Try to remember to say the Lord's Prayer. And try to get right for the day. It's rituals and routines. Treat people the way you want to be treated. Lead by example. Say please and thank you and excuse me, sir and ma'am. Show your upbringing. You have home training. And tell those that you care about your family, that you love them. If you're lucky enough to still have a parent alive. I'll be back tomorrow for... I usually come on 7 p.m. Central Time. And everybody, thank you for coming. And hopefully we'll see you tomorrow for another edition of Coffee Talk. Bye-bye. Well, bing.